Hungrybox has done it again. After nearly 3 years without winning a major, the Clutch Puff is back on top after winning Genesis X2. Winning the tournament and overcoming his recent rival Wizzrobe made it an incredible and emotional moment for the 31-year-old Argentinian and American smasher. But Genesis X2 could also bring hope to a scene that's frankly a little worried about its future. Okay, so Genesis, established in 2009, remains one of the longest running and most prestigious Smash tournaments in the scene. It's a super major, meaning a big S-tier event with most of the top players in attendance alongside a massive pool of entrants. Traditionally, it's been highly valued as a core part of the Melee circuit, especially since it also has open entry. But in 2025, Melee is going through an interesting time. Fans have seen viewership start to decline, Nintendo seems as hostile as ever, and the prize pools, which were never that massive to begin with, let's be honest, have also started to dip a little bit. Still, it feels nearly impossible to count Melee out. This year, Genesis also hosted main events for other fighting games like Tekken 8, Street Fighter 6, Rivals of Aether 2, and Guilty Gear Strive. It also offered side events for all sorts of things, including TCGs, Tetris, and even Riichi Mahjong. But Melee was, of course, the biggest, and it will always be what people associate with Genesis, even if one day players decide or are forced to play some other game. And fittingly, Genesis was what gave Melee fans this huge burst of energy in what was otherwise potentially a kind of downbeat for the scene. The tournament was incredible, boasting some amazing moments.
Shine comes through once again. It's only a back air to follow up though. Here we go.
Oh, here you go. What an opening. And he punishes the slide off. That's so good from Mango. He punishes the slide off.
It also brought back the fan favorite commentary duo of Scar and Toph for part of day 2. Salt also made history at this tournament by achieving the highest major placement by a woman. And beyond the final result, there were a metric ton of upsets too. But the thing that almost everyone got hype about was the grand final result. Now, in order to get to the grand finals, Hungrybox beat a ton of heavy hitters. But most notable might be his loser's final win against Wizzrobe, who had been a constant thorn in HBox's side and sent him to the loser's bracket in the first place, precipitating this tweet.
A little bit of runway here because he's at 0.
Right.
He's not gonna get the tech chase.
He finally gets the tech chase right, and he gets it off the top. He finally does it. He does the platform tech chase right on the last stock, and HBox is in grand finals.
Grand finals,
the
HBox.
last god remaining here.
As we mentioned at the outset, HBox won a major and a second Genesis after so much self-doubt and even having debated retirement.
And again,
He cannot
breaking down.
He cannot contain his emotions. He knows
it's coming.
And that's it. And that's when HBox wins. It's been 2.5 years since the last time that HBox has won a super major, since Riptide 2022. What an emotional pop-off we have here from HBox.
Let the tears flow, my friend, because
right.
you have sufficiently earned this one. Hungrybox, your Genesis X2 champion.
Now, honestly, I think the best thing about this pop-off is how we seem to be realizing alongside HBox that he actually did it. The crowd was clearly pulling for him, and now the 31-year-old has yet another massive win. As Juan put it in his tweet, there was always another chance to touch the ceiling. Afterwards, it was revealed that Mewtwo King had helped coach him, and even Mango, the only other of the 5 gods still active, had to give him props for his drive to continue winning. HBox, for his part, turned around and decided to put his prize money from the tournament into 5 online events that will each feature a different game, and that's king shit. We should also talk about HBox's opponent, Triff, in a little more detail. He became the first Spaniard to reach a major grand final, and also the first player to reach a major grand final using only Peach since Armada in 2017.
Again, we're seeing that light shield as well on the anytime there's a defense.
Hang on. Oh! I can't believe that miss. And that one tripped the game.
Triff has been considered one of the best Peach players in Melee for a while, but Peach also hasn't had a lot of success for a while either. This run speaks to both the unpredictable nature of Genesis and also his development as a competitor. Now, these kinds of stories could potentially help build a Melee esports revival. But whether that will actually happen is not clear. In the past few years, many organizations turned their back on the esport. I also mentioned viewership in the intro, and that has declined a bit as well. But even if you just look at Melee registration at Genesis, this year is down almost 500 entrants from last year. Though Genesis is still likely to be the year's biggest tournament bracket and local and regional communities seem to be thriving, a return to the pre-2022 era of huge tournaments seems like it's a long way off. Even if it doesn't, HBox's place in Melee history was, and still is, clearly secured. And maybe it doesn't need to reach previous peaks to survive as a discipline. There will always be people playing Melee. However, if making a living playing the game continues to get harder, that could have obvious knock-on effects for the game's long-term competitive viability. Also, the Rivals of Aether 2 tournament at Genesis X2 was actually won by Plup, a longtime Melee pro who also placed 13th in Melee singles at Genesis.
Oh, the down tilt doesn't connect! That's huge!
Oh my goodness, great shielding from both of these players right now. Nice bait!
Oh,
hang on!
That might be
Forward!
it! I don't know, does he have the resources to make it back?
Gets
The wall
the wall.
jump?
Oh my god!
Oh, hold on, production! Oh my god, it's over! Plup wins Genesis!
This is another first, and maybe one we could see more often in the future. Yeah, people want to keep playing Melee, and I think we all understand why. But at the same time, Rivals of Aether 2 is clearly aiming at that audience. One of the events that HBox is actually planning on running with his prize money is Rivals as well. And one of its major competitors, Multiversus, just announced that they would stop development on new content pretty soon after what many consider, including me, to be a disastrous relaunch. Trust me, I tried playing it. So there we have it. HBox made history and Melee continues to grind on. May it never die. Did you guys check out Genesis X2? Any thoughts on HBox's run in the tournament? And hey, any Rivals of Aether 2 fans? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. I'm in the subreddit for Shin Megami Tensei games. Somebody uploaded the entire subbed Japanese TV show that was like a late night TV show called Devil Summoner to YouTube. And it's like a late night horror TV show. You can't watch it if you're not an adult, but it's crazy. Like, check it out. It's wild.